My name is Amelie. This is my story, a story that might also be your own hidden fear, lurking in the shadows of your life. It all began a few weeks ago when I ended a long-term relationship. I was devastated. I felt utterly alone, drained, and helpless. I lived by myself, and the nights stretched endlessly, suffocating me with loneliness. My thoughts spiraled, my past, my future, my present, they all seemed meaningless. I kept asking myself, what am I supposed to do now? It felt like my world had ended. That night, I finally dragged myself to bed. I glanced at my phone, but couldn't bring myself to talk to anyone. All I wanted was sleep, a small escape from the storm raging in my mind. The bed was warm, the blanket felt safe, and for a brief moment, I thought sleep might grant me peace. I closed my eyes and surrendered to the darkness. I don't know how long I had been asleep, or if I was even fully asleep. I was caught in that liminal space between sleep and wakefulness. My eyes were closed, my body frozen as if paralyzed, but my mind was fully aware. There was a strange heaviness over me, an invisible weight pinning me down. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't move. Then I felt it. At first, it was faint, but soon, it became impossible to ignore. There was something, a presence, beneath me. Not in the room exactly, but beneath the floor, as if the ground had opened up. It wasn't visible, but I could sense it, a void. Cold, dark, and alive. The void felt like a bottomless pit, a well that had no end. And deep within it, something moved. I could feel its presence crawling in the depths, chained but restless. Then I heard it, the clinking of metal chains. The sound was faint at first, but it grew louder, sharper. The chains groaned, each link trembling with pressure as if they were being stretched to their limit. My heart raced. I struggled to open my eyes, to scream, to move anything. But my body betrayed me, pinned by an invisible force. The chains rattled louder, faster, closer. Whatever was in that pit was climbing. My fear seemed to fuel it, giving it strength. The faster it climbed, the louder the chains echoed. I felt it getting closer and closer until finally, it emerged. It stood at the edge of my bed. Its body was a mix of gray and white, like stone and ash fused together. It was humanoid, yet not human. Its limbs were unnaturally heavy, as if forged from metal. It moved with a deliberate weight, and though it had no face, I could feel its gaze locked on me. Slowly, it climbed onto my bed. Each movement made the mattress creak and groan beneath its crushing weight. Then, it sat on my chest. The cold was unbearable. It seeped into my skin, my bones. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. I tried to breathe, but my lungs refused to work. I could feel its weight pressing down, growing heavier and heavier. I thought I was going to die. In my mind, I screamed, "Wake up! Move! Do something!" With every ounce of strength I could muster, I forced myself to wake. I sat up, gasping for air, drenched in sweat. My room was quiet, but the memory of its cold touch lingered on my skin. I turned on the lights and immediately called my grandmother. Through sobs, I told her everything. She listened in silence before finally speaking. Her voice was calm but grave. "They call it carabasin," she said. "It comes to those who feel alone, weak, and vulnerable. It is chained, but your fears and weaknesses loosen its bonds." Was it just a dream? I whispered, still trembling. "No," she replied firmly. "It's real. The chains that bind it are your strengths. The more you let yourself fall into despair, the weaker those chains become. If they break completely, it will take you." That night, I didn't sleep again. For days, I tried to stay strong, to ignore the lingering terror. But a few nights later, it came back. This time, it climbed faster. The chains barely made a sound as it ascended. I could feel it moving through my house now, its heavy footsteps echoing in the silence. And then, it stood beside me. It leaned down, its cold, formless hands wrapping around my throat. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't move. I couldn't escape. In my desperation, I thought of my grandmother. I focused on her warmth, her love, her unwavering strength. Somehow, that thought pushed the creature away. It disappeared into the void. But it never truly left. I know now that the pit is always there. The chains are always rattling. And every time I feel weak, every time I let myself drown in loneliness, it climbs closer. I fight it with the memories of the people I love, but I can't shake the fear that one day, it will break free entirely. And when it does, I might not be able to stop it.